At the age of 7 years old, he was already driving custom-made luxury cars. By the time he was 11 years old, he was already wearing a small military uniform while carrying a loaded Colt 45 pistol. He also spent vacations in the Swiss Alps. When he finally gained power, all the generals who once stood beside his father's coffin were no longer in the picture. His personal wealth is believed to be hidden in more than 200 secret bank accounts in at least 6 countries. Hackers connected to his regime are accused of stealing more than $5 billion in cryptocurrency. Meanwhile, the country he leads has mineral resources estimated to be worth $6 to $10 trillion. This is not the story of a villain in a movie. This is the story of Kim Jong-un, the supreme leader of North Korea. But the question of how wealthy he really is does not have a simple answer. Because in his country, there is almost no clear boundary between personal wealth and the wealth of the state. As the absolute leader of a country with nuclear weapons, power and wealth seem to be concentrated in one hand. While roughly 45% of the population faces severe food shortages, there is an even deeper story behind the wealth of the Kim dynasty. What you will discover about the way they handle wealth might change your perspective on what it truly means to be rich, especially when that wealth is beyond the reach of law, international sanctions, or even institutions created to prevent one person from controlling an entire country. But before we begin, if you're new to our channel, make sure to subscribe. That way you'll always be updated with videos like this. The Inheritance. A childhood. Built on gold guns and false passports. The story of Kim Jong-un's wealth did not begin when he became the leader. It started with a young man who lived a life of immense privilege. A level of luxury that even the heirs of Western billionaires would seem modest by comparison. He was officially born on January 3, 1983, although even this date is disputed. In the Kim dynasty, even birthdays are considered secret information. Kim is the third son of Kim Jong-il. He grew up at the Ryong-song residence in Pyongyang, an enormous palace with private cinemas, a bowling alley, a spa, a horse racetrack, and almost every luxury that an absolute ruler could take from his country's economy. As a child, he drove expensive European cars that were specially made for him. At banquets, imported food was served while limousines and a private armored train were prepared for his travels. He vacationed in the Swiss Alps, the French Riviera, and other places that ordinary North Korean citizens would never see. These trips were carried out using fake passports, under strict security, and every move he made was supervised by high-ranking officials of the regime. Kim studied in the city of Bern in Switzerland under the alias Pak-un. Although his lifestyle was considered simple by European standards, it was still very far from the ordinary life of a North Korean. He liked basketball and American culture. He collected Michael Jordan memorabilia and became fascinated with the National Basketball Association, an interest that later became part of one of the most unusual diplomatic events of the 21st century. The use of fake passports had long been a tradition in their family. Kim Jong-il used different identities when traveling abroad, and this system was also continued with his children as part of the regime's security and their hold on power. His youth was not only luxurious, it was carefully designed to shape a leader accustomed to extreme extravagance. He expected everyone to obey his orders and believed that the entire wealth of a nation was part of his personal inheritance. It was not guaranteed that Kim Jong-un would be the next leader. His older half-brother, Kim Jong-nam, was first considered the heir to power. But in 2001, Kim Jong-nam was involved in a scandal after he was caught using a fake passport while trying to travel to Tokyo to visit Tokyo Disneyland. The regime was embarrassed by this incident, and he was completely removed from the list of possible successors to his father. When Kim Jong-il died in December 2011, it was his third son, the quiet one who loved basketball and studied in Switzerland, who inherited control over the military, the economy, the nuclear program, and a vast financial system designed to preserve the Kim dynasty's wealth no matter what happened to the country they ruled. The generals who carried Kim Jong-il's coffin, who once symbolized the power of the military, were removed from their positions one by one. Some of them even disappeared from the public eye completely. His consolidation of power was swift, thorough, and ruthless. Within just 2 years after becoming the leader, Kim Jong-un was no longer just the leader of North Korea. He became the very face and center of the entire state. If all the generals who attended a funeral disappeared within 2 years, is this simply a consolidation of power? Or did something darker happen behind the scenes? The hidden Fortune 200 bank account, 6 countries. The most well-known estimate of Kim Jong-un's personal wealth is around $5 billion, a figure published in 2013. At that time, he was among the richest leaders in the world, following Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. But more than a decade has passed, and according to many analyses, his real wealth is now much greater. It's hard to measure because it's not held in public companies, real estate, or businesses that are easy to value. Instead, it is believed to be hidden in more than 200 secret bank accounts in various countries such as Austria, Switzerland, Luxembourg, China, Singapore, and Russia. Many of these accounts are reportedly under fake identities and placed in small banks with less strict regulations to avoid thorough scrutiny against money laundering. However, his personal wealth is small compared to the total assets he controls. In 2024, it is estimated to be between $26.6 billion and $32. His personal wealth is small compared to the total assets he controls. North Korea's total economy was estimated at between $26.6 billion and $32 billion. And almost every dollar generated there passes through a system controlled by one person, Kim Jong-un. There's no independent auditor in North Korea. There's no parliament with real power to review government spending. There is no free media that can investigate or expose the misuse of funds. In short, the entire economy of a country with around 26 million people revolves around a system that directly follows just one person. And Kim has shown several times that for him, there is almost no difference between the national treasury and his own bank account. Beneath the ground of North Korea lies one of the largest mineral resources in the world. These include rare earth elements, carbon, iron ore, gold, and magnesite. The total value of these reserves is estimated to reach between $6 to $10 trillion. At present, these have not been fully utilized due to lack of infrastructure and international sanctions, but it still remains a huge potential source of wealth. Because of this, although North Korea is among the poorest countries based on its current economy, it is also one of the countries with the greatest potential wealth based on its natural minerals. And all of this wealth is controlled by Kim Jong-un. No company can mine in North Korea without the regime's permission, and no profit from mining can go to anyone who is not under their control. It's like a huge savings account that can't be touched right now, but whoever controls North Korea also holds the potential for trillions of dollars in future wealth. For now, the person who has complete control over that wealth is just one, with no successor, no real overseer, and no plan to share that power. The revenue machine, Office 39 state hackers, and billions from crime. The most unique part of Kim Jong-un's financial empire is not its size, but the source of the money. While most countries earn from taxes, trade, and investments, the North Korean regime is accused of running a separate system that profits through various illegal activities. At the center of this system is Office 39, a secret office within the Workers' Party of Korea that is allegedly responsible for collecting foreign currency. Activities linked to it include arms smuggling, illegal sales of contraband, gold smuggling, counterfeiting money and documents, and various types of fraud. According to various estimates, Office 39 earns approximately $500 million to $2 billion each year. This operation is overseen by Kim Jong-un's sister, Kim Yo-jong. to ensure that the regime's most important source of income remains under the direct control of their family. The second pillar of their system is cybercrime. At the center of this is the Lazarus Group, a group linked to North Korea's military and intelligence. According to various reports, they have stolen more than $5 billion through cyber attacks against banks, cryptocurrency exchanges, and other financial institutions around the world. One of their biggest operations was the alleged theft of $1.5 billion from Bybit, a cryptocurrency exchange. This amount is even bigger than the annual defense budget of some countries. The stolen cryptocurrency was allegedly laundered using shell companies, cryptocurrency mixing services, and decentralized exchanges to hide the origin of the money. After this, it is converted into real cash that repeatedly goes back to the regime. This is an easy task for ordinary hackers. This is a high-level cyber operation carried out by trained hackers with the support of a state, using infrastructure provided by the government, and targeting financial systems that were not designed to defend themselves against attacks carried out by an entire country. The third pillar is forced labor. North Korea also sends workers to construction sites, factories, and logging operations in countries such as Russia, China, and some countries in Africa and the Middle East. This program is estimated to earn between $1.2 and $2.3 billion per year. However, it is believed that the workers receive only about 10% of their wages, while the remaining money is taken by the regime and goes directly to funds controlled by the leadership. According to international human rights organizations, the condition of these workers can be compared to a modern form of slavery. They have no freedom to change jobs, no right to simply resign, no independent legal representation, and they are constantly monitored by regime personnel. Threats against their families left behind in North Korea are also often used to ensure their compliance. When the three sources of income, Office 39, the Lazarus Group, and forced labor are combined, it is estimated that the regime collects between $3 to $9 billion each year, despite extensive international sanctions designed to prevent this kind of revenue. Nevertheless, the flow of money continues, and Kim Jong-un's share of this income seems to depend only on how much he wants to use. If a country's main sources of income are hacking, smuggling, and forced labor, can it still be considered a normal country? Or is it now the world's most heavily armed criminal organization? The lifestyle, $30 million in alcohol. Here you can see how the money collected by the regime turns into personal luxury. Kim Jong-un is not just accumulating wealth. He also spends it at a level of luxury that seems to fulfill all his childhood dreams. Except now he is using the wealth of an entire country. One of the clearest examples of this is the Jong ski resort, which was built in 2013 by direct order of Kim Jong-un, so he could once again experience the lifestyle he had in Bern, Switzerland, when he was studying there. It has a modern ski lift, well-maintained ski slopes, and luxurious accommodations, all built in a country where a large part of the population struggles to get enough food, let alone go on vacation for leisure. Although the resort was introduced as a destination for foreign tourists, its true purpose is clear to many observers. It was built because the supreme leader wanted to be able to ski without having to leave North Korea. Kim Jong-un's car collection is estimated to be over 100 luxury European cars. These include armored limousines, a Mercedes-Maybach S650 Guard, a Rolls-Royce Phantom, and a new Mercedes-Benz SUV. These vehicles were reportedly brought into North Korea despite United Nations sanctions that prohibit the transfer of luxury goods into the country. In 2023, Vladimir Putin personally gave an Urus Senat limousine to Kim Jong-un during a diplomatic visit. The Urus is often called Russia's answer to the Rolls-Royce, and this gift has become a symbol of how political relationships can overcome certain international sanctions. According to reports, Kim spends around $30 million each year just on imported alcohol. This includes expensive Scotch whiskey, Hennessy cognac, Cristal champagne, and wines from the Bordeaux region of France. This amount is even higher than the combined annual income of thousands of North Korean families. Even his cigarettes were reportedly wrapped in gold foil. His personal chef, Kenji Fujimoto, a Japanese sushi chef who first served Kim Jong-il, once escaped from North Korea but was later allowed to return by Kim Jong-un. For some, this was a sign of trust in a longtime acquaintance. For others, it was proof of the leader's confidence that no one who had been part of his world could ever truly escape the influence of the regime. It wasn't just one chef who prepared his luxurious meals. The regime continued to import caviar, Kobe beef, Brazilian coffee, Parma ham, lobster, and Emmental cheese. It is said that Kim was extremely fond of Emmental cheese. That's why he even sent officials to France and Switzerland to study how it is truly made. This resulted in a state-funded cheese-making project, a program said to have been carried out solely because of one person's personal desire. In 2024, Kim was estimated to have spent nearly $51.92 million on importing luxury goods, which he distributed as gifts to his allies. And this includes luxury watches, electronics, liquor, and designer goods used to maintain the loyalty of the people around him. In this system, loyalty is not just demanded, it is often bought. This luxurious lifestyle is not just a personal indulgence. It is a system funded by state revenue, maintained by evading international sanctions, and driven by the belief that the personal desires of the supreme leader can become the priority of the entire nation. The Purges, how Kim protects his wealth by eliminating everyone who threatens it. This enormous wealth requires more than just secret bank accounts and tight security. According to many analyses, the most important protection of Kim Jong-un's wealth is also what protects his power: the systematic removal of anyone considered a threat. One of the most well-known cases is the death of his half-brother, Kim Jong-nam. In February 2017, Kim Jong-nam was killed at Kuala Lumpur International Airport after two women approached him and smeared VX nerve agent on his face. VX is an extremely dangerous chemical weapon, and the amount used in that incident was reportedly enough to kill many people. Kim Jong-nam died just about 20 minutes later. Many governments and investigators widely link the assassination to the North Korean regime. The message was clear: leaving the country is not a guarantee of safety. Distance is not protection. And even being a family member does not provide safety. 2 years before this, in 2013, Kim also targeted his uncle Jong Song-thak. Jang served as Kim's main advisor during the early years of his leadership, and was widely considered at that time as the second most powerful person in North Korea. In the end, he was accused of treason, corruption, and building his own faction within the government. Afterwards, his execution was carried out in a manner that clearly served as a warning. No family, political, or institutional connections can save anyone once they are considered an enemy of the supreme leader. It was reported that the case was even shown on state media to make all officials in the country aware of what could happen to anyone suspected of being disloyal to the leadership. Since 2013, Kim Jong-un has carried out a series of purges among high-ranking officials in the military, party, and intelligence services. The aim of this, according to many analyses, is to eliminate possible rivals before they can organize any opposition, while ensuring that the country's financial, military, and intelligence systems remain directly loyal to a single leader. This system also extends to the next generation of the Kim family. In 2022, Kim Jong-un's daughter, Kim Joo-ae, was introduced to the public for the first time. Many believe that she is being prepared to become the next leader of the country. There are reports that even high-ranking officials bow whenever they speak to her. At a young age, she was seen wearing an expensive Cartier watch and a Dior jacket worth around $1,900. In a country where the average annual income of many citizens is not even enough to buy a single designer accessory. The huge gap in their lifestyles is clear. Meanwhile, Kim's wife, Ri Sol-ju, a former singer, is often seen at public events wearing products from Versace, Tiffany and Cartier, Gucci, and carrying Dior handbags. These are brands that most North Korean citizens may have never seen or even heard of. And for many observers, that's exactly the message. The open display of the Kim family's luxurious lifestyle is not simply a show of elegance. It's a deliberate display of their unique status. It's as if they're showing that the ruling family belongs to a level so far above ordinary citizens that it's almost impossible to compare their way of life. In this system, wealth is a symbol of power. The luxurious lifestyle is the message, and the subsequent purging of opponents ensures that no one dares to question it. The fortress, 100,000 guards, nuclear weapons, and an advanced arsenal of diseases. In terms of power, it shows that Jong-un is different from almost every billionaire, oligarch, and head of state in the world. His wealth is not protected by business laws, financial institutions, or private security companies. Instead, it is protected by an elite military unit with around 100,000 personnel, known as the Supreme Guard Command. This is a special force exclusively trained to protect the Kim family and ensure their power remains. This special unit has modern weapons, armored vehicles, and receives more funding than any other military unit in North Korea. This is not an ordinary security detail. It is a private army whose loyalty is not to the state, but to Kim Jong-un himself. Its members are trained to kill or be killed for their leader without hesitation. Behind this army is North Korea's arsenal of nuclear weapons. The country is estimated to have 40 to 50 nuclear warheads. In addition, it continues to expand its missile program, which is capable of hitting targets across the Pacific Ocean. According to many analyses, these weapons are not only for the defense of the country's territory. Its more important role is in maintaining Kim Jong-un's regime, because it deters other countries from trying to overthrow his government without risking possible nuclear retaliation. From this perspective, nuclear weapons are not just a defense against invasion. They are the most important guarantee of his hold on power. They serve as a last line of defense that wealth, influence, and other factors rely on maintaining a system unrecognized by much of the world. Still, Kim's power is rooted in more than just defense against invasion. For 3 generations, their family has gradually built a system that is most important in shaping the belief that the ruling family is more than ordinary. Nuclear weapons are not just for defense against invasion. Through state media, the education system, monuments, and mandatory ceremonies, the message is continuously spread that the authority of the Kim family is not just political, but seems destined and should not be questioned. This is the real defense, the defense that protects the wealth and power of Kim Jong-un. Not bank vaults, not encryption, not lawyers, but the combination of 100,000 elite soldiers' nuclear weapons and a vast personality cult that places the supreme leader in an almost unassailable position. Unlike Elon Musk, who has to follow the law, Mohammed bin Salman, who has to balance his country's politics, or the Ambani family, who operate within a democratic system, Kim Jong-un has almost no institution capable of holding him accountable. In his system, his wealth is the country, and the country is also the source of his wealth. This system will remain as long as the personality cult stays strong. The forces guarding him remain vigilant, and his regime retains the capability to maintain nuclear weapons. This is no longer just simple management of wealth. This is now an example of an economy of absolute power. And up to now, no force has proven capable of completely dismantling it. If you found this kind of in-depth analysis useful and interesting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. In the next episode, we will discuss the hidden wealth of the 5 most secretive dictators who are still in power. Leaders whose accumulated riches can be compared to the entire economies of some Western countries, yet their secret financial systems remain largely hidden from the world.